Watching all the world go by now, underneath the hazy sky now. Got my ticket for the long ride. Yeah, from my park bench perspective, got that wide-eyed view on life. My park bench perspective, helping me to win the fight.
Hey, how you doing today, Mike Hammer?
Carlos Figueroa, I'm doing fine, and when I am on the bench with my best bud, it's all fine and dandy.
It's awesome to be back on the bench with you. We had a massive heat wave, then we had a bit of a respite, and now we're back to more manageable 80s today.
Yeah, the Minnesota's burning.
Yep. And our Twins are buyers. The Twins have picked up a
buying.
reliever and a starter.
And that was good. There was something outside yesterday that we haven't seen in a while. It was weird. It was foreign, and it was in the form of moisture.
It was very weird.
And then even though we go 2 weeks without rain or a long time, and then after about 10 minutes, you're like, yeah, rain's annoying. You're like, I get wet.
Did you ever take chemistry in high school? I did.
One of my, I think I told this once on here, but I think my junior year, I had chemistry first hour.
Yeah.
And chemistry is kind of like math. Cruel. It's hard to miss a lot of chemistry and keep up with it.
Can't. It builds up.
Those days where I'd hear you come by, honk the horn once, and if I'm not at the door, out the door, you're gone. And now I know I'm finding alternative ways to school. I have my most reoccurring high school dream.
Yeah.
is not gonna pass chemistry, and I'm doing so much math in my head trying to figure out how to make up the points and the time and the teacher, and she's just looking at me, and I'm like going, it's going to happen. And then sometimes I throw it on top of that, yes, the naked in class going, I don't come often, but when I do, I rarely wear anything.
So the reason you mentioned it, you mentioned the stuff in the sky. And so I don't know if you remember the TV show that Penn and Teller had about 20 years ago on Showtime. And I hit the explicit button so I can name the show. It's called Bullshit. And so they did a thing. They got people to sign a petition at some park or something like that, banning dihydromonoxide. So if you think about your chemistry, H2O is 2 hydrogen and an oxygen. Dihydromonoxide is 2 hydrogen, 1. So basically, it was a petition to ban water. And so they're telling people, oh, this stuff, companies use it. They just release it all over the place. And people are like, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. That's terrible. So,
funny. Well, I like it. You should get rid of that.
Yeah.
No more hydrate.
A similar one, a friend of mine, God, I haven't seen Marco in forever, from 40 years ago, he did an exercise where he wrote out the Constitution, but wrote it out, a leaflet. This is what we should have. And people like, I like it, but that's a little radical, man.
Interesting. It's interesting where just the hydration thing, I brought this up, but back when we were young, I've hydrated more in the freaking 10 years, I think, of my whole life because before that, I just drank water.
And I don't want to get into the generational wars, but we drank out of hoses. You know what I mean? It was not something that we needed to. We did not have pop machines in our school either. So I developed my soda pop addiction after high school. But
soda pop wasn't that, it was more of a treat and it was whatever. But Kool-Aid was big. Pump them up with sugar.
All right, so I've been seeing a lot of generational stuff right now about people claiming that, can't believe you guys wrote papers without AI. I'm like, we wrote papers without the internet. We wrote papers without Google, man. It's like the student experience was very different. Life was different, man. You didn't have your cell phone.
It was way different. If you mess up on your typewriter, you do the stupid little whiteout, or you start over, or you just pack it in and quit. But the talking about knowledge and this and that, or they do it. It was funny that somebody's talking about going to taking summer classes for your SAT or the other one, ACT.
SAT, or ACT,
All I remember, and I don't know if you remember better, all I know is one day, it was like on a Tuesday, we show up and they sent us over to Central.
Yeah.
There was a box of number 2 pencils, and they said, you're taking a test. And we're like, what is this? ACT or SAT, I don't know what it was.
You know, I've often thought about that. This is a bit of a tangent, but I'll go down it because neither of my parents went to college and they weren't part of the American school system. So I had no idea what an SAT, I knew, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't think about my future or any of that stuff. When I went to law school, First day, they say, oh, 240 members in the class, and 60% of you parents are lawyers. That's not, and 4 of you parents that don't have college degrees. And I'm like, okay, 2 of those, 3 of those 4 became best buddies. Just without knowing that, it just kind of turned out. Yeah, it was a different. I didn't know. I once again, I showed up. I guess we're going over to Central to take a test.
And I don't remember what I got. I don't know what it did. And I did everything I wanted to do. Didn't let that hinder it. And I don't know. It seemed like when we grew up, now it's what are you going to do with your life? And back then it was like, we just dreamed more, as in we kept our dream alive about, yes, I had that. There was a newspaper article when my dad was running for mayor.
Yeah.
And we were in the Sun Sailor, and I wanted to be the next Fran Tarkenton. And I remember getting kind of teased about it, but then I'm thinking back going, who wouldn't want to be a quarterback in the NFL? Who wouldn't want to be a pitcher in Major League? So why would you knock somebody for dreaming that? Not many people said sewer. I think I'm going to work in the sewer.
Different, and here's, I don't know if it's the technology. I don't know what's happened, but basically we've professionalized everything. We professionalized going to school. We professionalized youth sports. You know, they have 9 and up teams it's crazy, these tournaments, and you pay, and these big corporations, and it's like, just have fun. It's like, you got to optimize every minute. You got to your app, and you got to use AI, and you got to do this. It's like, take a breath.
K-Fan was talking to a coach, or they heard a coach talking about it, and they're from Minnesota, and they went to this tournament, and they talked about TJ Oshie is retired, so he was one of the coaches, and they're talking about all the time they put in and the travel, and they were in Canada, this and that, and they go, they're 9 and 10-year-olds, and you're like going, oh wow, I get that.
I'm currently reading a book by Jeff Passan called The Arm, which is considering the billions of dollars that sports pay for arms, particularly in baseball. We know very little, but one of the things we do know is that workload accumulates, and just starting these kids on this year-round baseball at 9 is just insane. That's why Tommy John surgery is common now in high school. It's crazy. It's stupid.
And
it's stupid. It really is. It's for the percentage of kids that are going to have a professional career, you know, all the money and all the resources and all the stress and the $300 bats, and it just seems like they've ruined it. First of all, they've taken a huge percentage of the kids and made it inaccessible to them. And then I appreciate so much the parents that did everything for us when we were kids and stuff. But honestly, when we'd get together on the playground and just play, we'd have as much fun, if not more.
As much fun. Home run derby, or at Elliott, if you could hit the tar from that little backstop, that was a home run, or pitcher's hand, or I know the kid, they were talking about about hockey, how they've excluded, they wonder why youth hockey here is not as good as other places, because the rich parents, which were the rich kids, whatever, and it shouldn't be. Even now, baseball, you got to have your own bat or two, and these bats run $300-$400.
And the gloves and the travel and every tournament is hundreds of dollars. It's an industry. It's a massive multi-billion-dollar industry catering to youth sports. It's crazy.
And then somebody wrote in, and they were from somewhere in Europe, and they talk about how they make it very inexpensive, because the meals are here, the parents aren't expected to go, this and that, and it's all about the kids' journey. And a lot of youth sports, it's like the one, is it your journey or my journey? And the parents make it their journey, not their kids' journey, it seems to be.
That certainly happens, and you wonder, honestly, I don't get it. And once again, I should probably bow out of the conversation because I'm not a parent, never been a parent, but I would imagine that a parent wants to take care of their kid and wants the kid to be able to pursue their dream, but it just, to the exclusion of everything else. If I were a parent right now, I would not let the kid go exclusive on anything. No, unless they're like, oh, they're top 5 in the world at gymnastics or something like that, I wouldn't. It just is, once again, you're turning play into a job.
Yeah. Unless they want to do it. And I remember my kids, I said, whatever you want to do, I'll support you, pay for as much as I can, anything you want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you what you got to do. And I'm not going to say, we got to get our reps in, we got to do this or that. But if you want to play,
crazy. Batting cages, and it's crazy. The mounds people build in the back. We didn't have a mound in my backyard. We just kind of
No,
said,
but I
okay, this
remember
looks
a few dads would
yeah,
get into it, but they wouldn't sit there all day long. My mound
yeah,
was across the street at Elliott, and
yep,
I remember I painted the
yep,
strike zone in, and I
yep,
pitched by myself into that wall. But the like my kids when they were young, I'd pitch batting practice as long as I
yeah,
could, as long as they
yeah,
wanted to hit,
yep.
and that was fun.
Yep.
But I didn't
But
say
you
we
were
got to
having
do it.
fun. You weren't like, oh, ranking. And these kids, they've got to start
And when we
setting up.
say these
So
kids,
you got
it's
to
a
set
lot
up
of times,
I'm talking about teenagers mainly, ones that are
yeah.
pursuing sports that get into the travel, but they got to have video clips and websites and get promoted. They get identified when they're in junior high. It's just, I don't know. It just, I know that our plan was to talk about technology today, but I kind of feel like this is similar to it. It's like everything is getting optimized.
We'll
You know, it's like,
circle back to it. But I think I didn't know this until a while ago, not too long ago. Some of these traveling teams,
yeah,
the part of your fee you pay is his salary.
yeah,
His or her salary, the coach's salary. I'm like, wait a second. The coaches for these traveling teams
yeah,
and stuff are getting
yeah.
paid, and they're like, oh yeah, and I'm like,
Oh
going,
yeah,
okay,
it's a huge
this.
business.
I'm like that just takes away the whole essence of
Yeah,
setting them up to fail.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I remember reading this quote. It was from a county in Canada, which is the big population, but the amount of kids that went out for hockey, and it whittled it down to 15,000 kids in that county go out for hockey, and
Mm-hmm,
maybe one will get a
mm-hmm.
scholarship to
Yep,
college.
yep,
And that's in Canada where it's sport number one. You're like,
yeah.
I remember when my daughter started playing hockey and she was good at it, but she was 8, 9 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and people were like, she'd probably get a scholarship. But I was like, how about we just be 9 for now?
For a while,
And I'm not going to try to offset paying for her college by
yeah,
pushing her.
yeah, yeah,
If it happens, it's
yeah,
meant to
yeah.
happen. And if it doesn't, so be it. But
But the reality is too is that professionalization is the word I'm going to use because I don't have a better word. Happens through college then too. It's like
mhm,
they don't treat college as a student athlete; they're athletes. And you
now
know, a lot
they're
of them now getting paid, so it's kind of like going. You're not setting her up for a future in college. You're setting her up for a future in sports. And if that doesn't work, too bad. I
yeah,
don't know. It just,
getting,
it just,
getting paid a lot.
and I just, it's. I look at it in terms of
It seems to me
the example I use, and this is going to seem weird, but I used to love just walking around a bookstore and just kind of seeing and looking at the clearance shelf and nothing is organized and just coming across a gem. And now it's, oh, I go to Amazon and here are your recommendations. Here's what the algorithm says you should read. And here's what, and everything's organized and search and this and that. It's like, where's serendipity? Where's just wandering around and finding
this
cool
book
stuff?
jumped out at me because it was supposed to jump out at me, like the
Yeah,
books
yeah.
coming out of
Yeah, it
the
makes a connection.
Interstellar
It makes a
thing.
connection and it knows in your brain. And you know what? As good as the algorithm is on Amazon, it doesn't know what I've been thinking about.
That's kind of like Tinder and these dating apps where the old fashioned way is you saw someone
Mm-hmm.
and it struck a chord, and
Yeah.
before you knew their name or who they won, you just were. Now I remember right before I ended Tinder and all that, because I'm like, everything is just like a job interview.
It
Every date
is.
is like a job interview.
Yeah.
What do you make? What do you? And the current person, a girl Annie I'm with, we met at a Rolling Stones concert, but it was one of those eyes locked, and I don't know if we knew what anybody the other did that much for the first 2 or 3 months. It wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
question that was brought up because it wasn't relevant to our
Mm-hmm.
relationship in a sense. It wasn't a criteria or anything. Just compatibility, liking each other, being attracted to each other, things in common,
Yeah.
and then working everything else out.
But you met at a concert, right? Where do people meet? People meet in school and work. That's where they spend most of their time. Guess what? Off limits at school and off limits at work now. So it's good, but you just kind of put yourself out there in the universe randomly. And
It,
I am sounding way woo. I'm someone who's not woo about stuff, but I just feel like there's something lost. There's something
I
lost
believe it.
in our society today where the professionalization, like you say, it feels like a job going on a date. It's why I don't like golfing. Golfing is like another job. You know what I mean? Golfing
It's
just can't be fun. It's just it's people treat it like work and a chore and frustration. And it's I don't know. I want to use my free time differently.
Yeah, it's funny. Me and my daughter just started golfing a little bit because she's getting
Mm-hmm.
healthier enough to swing, and I just like, what the heck? But it's a frustrating sport.
Yeah.
You want to be good at
Well,
it, but you can't, and you have to put the time in, and
you
then
do. That's the thing is you can't. just grab your clubs one day a year and expect to do anything other than hurt
But you
yourself and
can
embarrass
grab your
yourself.
clubs one day a year and have fun if you put it in the right mindset. Because then you start going, do you got the right equipment? No, it's not about the right equipment. First, try to get you can buy the nicest bat, but if you don't know how to swing a bat,
it doesn't
it's
do you
no
any good.
So
it reminds me, and I will not use any names. The analogies are bad today, folks. Sorry, but there was a kid, I'll tell you the name off the air, on our little league team for Rudolph's Barbecue. And he was really fast. He's really fast. And the guy who was the other coach would tell my dad, he's really fast. We got to have him steal it. And my dad's like, the guy can't get on base. So I don't care how fast he is. He's not on base. He can't steal. So
we had that in football too. This guy's fast, but he can't catch the ball. So we can't throw the ball to someone who can't catch it. But so I did go to my daughter. We've got it, and I'm having fun, and she's getting frustrated. It shouldn't be that hard. I go, it's not that hard. It's not that easy. It's what you make of it. I go, we can blue collar this, and basically the goal is to get the ball in the hole at least amount of strokes. Or if you want to look pretty doing it, then there's that. But the game of golf isn't that tough. Hitting every shot perfect is tough, and the thing about golf that's frustrating, you can't hustle your way out of a bad shot.
But I guess the problem too, and it is, golf is fascinating because just like I always say, hitting a baseball is hard, but golf is all in your brain. So it is really a fascinating sport in that sense. The problem I guess I have with it is I always say golf is something that I don't enjoy doing in public, because you get the stress of if you're just screwing around and this and that, and it's like people got to play through and they're annoyed, and it's like going, they ought to have golf courses just for, this is a place for people to just have fun and not be serious.
Yeah, when you want to have fun, it's kind of.
I guess that's why God invented Top Golf.
Yeah, the part about golf kind of reminds me of this quote: "A happy man, a happy person, is too satisfied with the present to dwell too much on the future." So, if we're at the course having fun right now, not going, "What am I going to do to get better?" So next time, because I go, then you're always working on next time, but not this time. And
the only place you live is the present. It's the only place you live. Your life happens in the present. So if you spend all your time living in the past or the future, you're wasting your life.
Wasting the time. So and the modern technology, we get back to that, where advancements, what did we do without all this abundance of knowledge? We figured it out, because another quote that I came across today was, it's not me when I say this, but I sometimes try to think it's me. It's not so much that I'm smart as I stick with the problem longer. And maybe that's why I do what I do.
You used a phrase I like, because it's very similar to a phrase I use in my life. You said I just blue collar it. I oftentimes will say brute force, where it'll be like a computer problem or something, and there's got to be a way to do this. I'm like, or we could just retype it, right? We could spend a half hour talking about the way to do it, or we could just be done with it in 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Where it's like going, yes, there's a prettier way to do it, but the way that gets it done is what matters, right? I used to be back in the day of like software development, is the only stuff that matters is what gets shipped. Either you get it done or you don't.
In sales, they're always trying to find ways, and I'm like, you can't modify, in a sense, what sales are. The guy that's trying to shorten, the smarmy sales guy is trying to shorten a line between A and B when it's a straight line already. The art of the sale is open, middle, and close. And if you want to be always closing, you're not going to get there, because you got to open. And if you understand, and when I've been taught sales and stuff, respect the process. Same with sports, same with writing, same with doing anything. If you respect the process, you might be able to tweak it, but you usually can't shorten it that much, because then you're somewhere along the line.
Let me ask you this. This is fascinating to me. All right. So hitting a baseball, right? The difference between a guy who's okay and a guy who's great is not that different. All right. For sales, I would argue that seeing more customers is of greater value than improving your closing rate. Whereas even the best salesman in the world is not going to close 80 or 90%. It's more like baseball. I mean, it's lower than that. So really, yes, you want to get better and you want to close more of your deals, but proposing more deals will probably benefit you more than becoming perfect and improving your batting average by 2%. Is that
you just got to. Yeah, no, it's real. You got to figure out when to cut bait. You give them that's why you follow the process. You open, you go through the process, and you kind of know somewhere. And I always talked about when we do sales one-on-one in person, and you kind of fishing for walleyes, and you look at them, and all of a sudden you see their eye just twitch a little bit, and you're like, okay, I caught something. There's something got their attention. Now, and back to the process. Give them, and I tell them this too. I'm going to give you all information for you to make an educated decision. And beyond that, there's nothing I can do. I can tell you the price and I can tell you all the good qualities, but if it doesn't work out, and if you don't change your sales approach, basically stick to it, you're going to be fine. But if you keep trying to
listen, when I talk sales, I'm talking about the people business element. I'm not talking about the e-commerce stuff because I don't get that. But technology has not changed the sales. Dale Carnegie, the stuff of, what's people's favorite word? Their name. If you say someone's name back to them, just being polite. The guy who was considered the best car salesman in the world 25 years ago, Joe Girard, he would send cards every month to everybody that he's ever had the address of. Every month, hey, just thinking of you. Hey, I hope you have a great 4th of July. Every month, and it just constantly gets in their face. I should say in their face. You know what I mean? You don't want to be annoying, but at the same time,
a little spot in their mind, holds a little place in their mind when it comes about to do it. But
I mean, it's like Chris Lindahl approached the annoying line, but he owns that market now.
Yep.
He owns it. He owns it. If somebody's like, I need to sell my house and I need to do it quick, I'll call him to get the big red check, right?
Exactly.
That's brilliant, but he was bordering on. I remember being at places when he'd have a skywriter or a banner and people would boo. Because he overdid it, but he was in people's faces and then they knew him. If they don't know who you are, it doesn't matter how great you are.
It's That's with him. There's no such thing as bad publicity because he's getting publicity.
And I shouldn't say that. Actually, I will not say this. I will not say it because it's potentially. I'll tell you it off the air. And a thought I have about Chris Lindahl.
But and it's funny too. Back to before there was the internet to look stuff up to be sure you're doing the right thing, and you talked about taking a test and knowing if you don't know necessarily think you know the answer, the first thing that pops in your mind is usually right because you spend the rest of your time talking yourself out of what first popped into your mind. But we didn't do.
But we had weird shit, man. We just because we didn't have Wikipedia, this and that. I don't know where stuff. I was always fascinated. Did you ever hear that Bubble Yum had spider eggs in it?
No.
Did you ever hear that Wendy's had ground up worms in it? There would be these weird things that you would just hear as kids, and it'd be like, okay.
Sitting too close to the TV is going to give you cancer. Being on the phone too long. Those are things parents brought up to get you off the TV.
No, but there was other just weird urban legends stuff. Like, okay, this was before the internet, and I'm not going to go into details. I'm just going to say Richard Gere, okay? Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Rumors run fast and die hard, and it spends too much time and effort trying to rectify a false rumor.
What word was that? You rectify. Interesting word choice.
Yeah. Funny. Just popped in my, interesting. I don't know, but we remember all the fun, and I'm happy and it's grateful that things went on because if it stayed in the moment, and like the moment never moved forward, we wouldn't.
But you know what, dude? Like you said, you blue collared it. I like it almost better than brute force because you know what we do? Hey, before cell phones, no newspaper, no magazines, you'd read the shampoo bottle.
You do that, or landlines, and make phone calls and write notes, and have Rolodexes.
Oh yeah,
on a Rolodex. That was annoying, but then if you had a good one, you're like, oh, I got a person. You pulled out the card out of the Rolodex.
That used to be the most valuable thing, and then actually after Rolodex in the '90s came the Filofax, which is basically a Rolodex you carry around with you. For those that are listening, if we have anybody that's under 30, a Rolodex is basically a thing that you keep cards that have people's handwritten or typed addresses on it so that you could go refer to it as a phone book for you.
And it spins around, and you could categorize it by alphabet and electrician.
And then there were folks where it's like the bigger your Rolodex.
Yeah, I got a big Rolodex. And insurance, I remember, was always like, who are you going to pass your book on to? And that was your book of clients. And
every salesperson, I don't care what business you are in, should have a book of clients. You should know who your customers are because you do not know where you're going to be working. And those customers are your customers. They met you, they talked to you, you are the company. So you should think that you own those relationships. Now, don't get into legal issues of stealing clients and stuff like that. But for example, if you cut hair and all of a sudden you're cutting hair somewhere else and they like how you cut your hair, that doesn't strike me as a problem saying, hey, I'm not there anymore. I'm over here now.
Yep. Remembering something about your customers, so when you talk to them again, you can bring it up, and they're like impressed because like they like to hear their name off your lips. They like to know when you.
Politicians to this day will be going through a fundraiser. It's like, okay, son is James, just got admitted to Harvard. Hey, I heard James got into Harvard. That's great news. Okay, this is Debbie. Her daughter June just got married. Oh boy, I hope June got our present. We're so happy for her. And they'll just do that the whole way through. And it's just because. And the thing is, I think the people that are getting told that like it, but it still makes you feel good, right? That they know your name, and so that as much you can optimize an algorithm and computer everything up, but the one-on-one human contact and the human psyche ain't gonna change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I watched a documentary on Theodore Roosevelt, and he was a blue collar guy.
He was.
And he would walk up, and he invented he coined the word the bully pit or the bully pulpit and and the train campaigns and stuff. But he would say things and people get mad, and somebody call him out in a crowd. And there's one scene, he walks over to the guy and he's like, "What did you say?" And the guy says it again, and it was talking about the coal mine strikes and this and that. And the guy's kind of, God, he's gonna, what is he? He shakes his hand. Thank you. I appreciate you having the guts to come out and call me out on this because I'm not right all the time, but I'm consistent about my persistence.
Well,
and when you're consistent about your persistence,
you make progress.
You make progress.
Mike, you told me this at the time when as Judy passed, which is showing up, man. That's what it's about. It's about showing up. That's what it is, just showing up every day, and consistency matters. And it's like, I'm trying to build a writing career, and I'm writing some essays, and I'm trying to build an audience, and lots of people will sell you courses on how to do it, but the key is just keep showing up, keep putting it out there.
Keep putting it out there, yeah. You might not want to go, you might not want to do something, but you go and do it, and you're like, usually it wasn't as bad because our mind gets in our way. And I like to have that. Somebody says, "Hey, you want to go do this?" Yep, let's go. You're not even going to think about it? No, because I think about it.
I've really let my body get deconditioned, but I will still say it because it's absolutely true. Never have I ever left the gym regretting that I went there. Never. Yeah. With the exception of the one time I left in an ambulance, I kind of regretted that time. But other than that,
there's a learning lesson. Somehow, drink some more water.
Stay hydrated. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's interesting because as we get older, our bodies, we don't just jump up out of bed as much, but you do things to do it, to be able to. And
so what's your morning routine? I mean, do you have a standard that you go through? I would imagine it involves walking your dogs.
No, that happens sometimes
later
during the day, but I don't know.
It depends on what. You don't have a typical day then, is what you're saying.
Oh, I do. I get up and it's usually a cup of coffee, a donut right away.
Yeah.
And reading the paper and skimming through the boring part and getting to the sports.
Hold on a second. You actually still get a paper?
No, it's on the iPad, but I don't have to get my fingers full of ink.
Yep, exactly.
But I like that's the.
I miss coffee. I love coffee. Coffee was part of my morning routine, and I just can't anymore. Whatever reason, in my old age, it just tears my stomach apart and it gives me nausea. So I'm actually looking at not having used my coffee machine in a few months. I've looked at, wow, do I really just get rid of it?
Oh, I know my sister had to give it up out a lot.
I still use I'm not caffeine free. I can still tolerate soda. So I get my caffeine that way, but it's very inefficient. But I keep some Mountain Dew stocked just in case I need a quicker fix.
I'm drinking coffee right now, but I get lucky. But yes, sometimes it kind of tears apart.
But it's interesting. The newspaper used to be part of my morning ritual, and to the point where if the paper wasn't there, I would allow it to ruin my damn day. I'm out of my routine. I'm not going to. And I would. And the reality is that back then a paper was a paper. Now, if you look at what's in a paper, it's come on. You know what I mean? This is a pamphlet. You know what I mean? There's more content in the Sun Sailor that we got in the 80s.
Yep. You remember watching Leave It to Beaver when Ward would come home and he'd get they bring him the paper. That was the afternoon paper. But then you remember the movie, the show, A Christmas Story
Yeah.
with Ralphie and all. He's sitting at the table always,
Yeah.
and when something weird's met, they bend one
Yeah.
part of the paper over to look across the table. What did you say? And then don't bug Daddy's reading the paper and gotta go. But
Here's a quick aside. I don't know if you saw during the All-Star game, but there was a picture of Freddie Freeman with his son. And every comment was, I know what that kid's getting for Christmas because he looks just like Ralphie. So he's getting a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. He looks just like him. I had to go, is this a? It was so crazy.
Speaking of baseball and the All-Star game and that whatever they did between whatever inning it was where Ray Charles obviously wasn't singing live, but he was singing America. And they had these kids start out, 2 kids on a bike, and then they pick up another
Sandlot,
one, and it's right out of the Sandlot, and they're going to play ball. And those kids actually showed up. If anybody didn't watch it,
it was cool. And each one was doing it.
If anybody didn't watch it, the neat thing is now you can YouTube it, and it's a great clip. Before then, you'd have to hear somebody's account of it because you didn't watch the broadcast. But they actually rode up to the ballpark, and they kind of did a scene of knothole days. People don't know what knothole days. Knotholes where kids used to sit outside the fence, and the holes and the wooden fences, the knotholes, they peek through and watch the game. And so that's where knothole tickets came into whatever. But they opened the gates, and the kids rode in at the All-Star game, this year's All-Star game, on their bikes, and they must have picked out who their favorite All-Star was, because the next thing, Mike Trout was somebody. Who else was there?
Freddie Freeman was playing catch with a
kid, and I'm trying to think, who's the big stud for Houston Astros? I can't think of the name.
Alvarez, Jordan Alvarez.
Alvarez, and then, but all the people, they just picked out their player, and Tani was there, and somebody, and a lot of times they looked alike because that they're heroes. Why? It's not a big deal, but it was cool, and that's what
to me that's where I love the sport. I love this. I love watching it at its highest competition. But to me, kids and baseball kind of go together. For me personally, this is my personal experience. I always say baseball and fathers and sons, but it's about kids and seeing kids. I will watch any reel of T-ball kids playing. I will watch the crowd because it's awesome, and they're learning, and they're that's the thing is the kids are having fun. You know,
talking about technology, I guess there's a big kick about retro, people going retro. And I want to know, and I hope they all have memories like we did as kids growing up, but what are you going to talk to your friends about sitting home? And this is not a slight on it or on video games, but God, I remember when I was young growing up, I'd always be in my basement playing video games. It was great. And you're like, we were making forts. We were doing, we were building rafts and going down the creeks that maybe wasn't the safest.
We were doing things that probably are not smart, but are probably just our cats. We have 2 boy cats, brothers, and they roughhouse. And Pam's like, come on, I hate when they fight. I'm like, you're raising their boys. They're going to do that.
We played King of the Hill at recess in the winter. We played King of the Hill, and you got thrown, and you got back up, and you got
Mike Hammer. This actually came up in a conversation with Pam recently. I said I was a school crossing guard. I was the bus patrol when we went to Cedar Manor. And that was when you and Kenny, for those who haven't listened a lot, Kenny Benning and Mike Hammer and Carlos Figueroa were the 3 amigos from elementary school on. But when we were in 6th grade, we had to take the bus to Cedar Manor. And at the bus stop, Mike and Kenny would say, let's play Starsky and Hutch. And I do not understand what Starsky and Hutch was other than it was Mike and Kenny versus Carlos and wrestling. And so we'd do that. We'd arrive from the bus and it's like, do you want to play Starsky and Hutch? I'm like, no. And you're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess we're playing.
You're a Huggy Bear. And
as my dad would say all the time, he's Cuban. Antonio Vargas, he's Cuban. My dad was always telling me he's Cuban. I'm like, okay, funny. If you say so, it's before Wikipedia. I'm going to believe you.
Yeah, we did.
Did you ever see the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding? In that movie, her dad character always says he's Greek. Always Greek. So I'm like, okay. So I guess it's a common behavior. I thought of something that you and I can talk about on a future episode because we're running long now.
Okay.
But let's talk about our experiences going to ball games at Met Stadium as kids. Let's do that in a future episode.
I have a good one, but I don't know how we got there. But yeah, cool. This was fun. We were going to talk about
technology.
We were going to talk about things without technology, and we never got there. But that's people have ideas besides the old phone on the wall, getting up to change the channel, no TV going off. We've talked about it, but other things that you kind of long for, because it was, now it'd be considered the long way, but it was more interesting roundabout way of doing things, where now sometimes I still don't do good with ordering and have it delivered to my door. I'm like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the interaction going out and buying it. Some things you can't just get, and if you need a car part and they don't have it, they can be sent to you in 2 days. Okay, cool. But other things I like, they're like, I'll just get it on. I'm like, I'm gonna go get it in person.
Do you pay at the pump?
Do I pay at the pump?
Yeah.
As in,
like when you get gas, do you always pay at the pump, or do you go in?
It depends. Sometimes if I'm getting my donuts for my breakfast,
Okay.
and I get my donuts, and if I get something else, and then if I have
Okay,
a 20
what if it says you must come in? The thing's not working. You got to come in.
I go to another pump.
That's what I do. Or I drive off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I go in and I buy my stuff, and then I do math. So if it's $7.41, I go, I want dollars and what would that be? 59 cents on pump whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, say take the rest and put it up to 20 on gas. And we're doing, so now I'm like, okay, put it up to that. It's in there, and I do that. But I do both. But usually it's hard to, not hard, but you put your car, you put it in your tank, go in and get your stuff and come out. But
I actually, it was funny you said where I'll take 20. I just thought that with all these Kalshi and all these betting markets, how far away are we from being able to go into SA? Yeah, and also put 20 on the Bears.
Yeah.
Laying 3. If somebody would have told me, 15-year-old Carlos, that you would be able to place bets from your phone and order weed delivered to your house, I'd be like, no.
And put bets on who's going to win the elections and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. You can bet on the inflation rate or whatever. It's crazy.
Crazy good. All right, buddy. We'll do the next one. And
we're going to get to St. Louis Park due to circumstances beyond my control. I was not able to get out to the Park Tavern today, but we will be doing that soon.
Yep. Super duper. And cool. Right. We'll talk soon.
All right. Carlos and Hammer.
Out.
Watching the world spinning slow. Another day, strange afterglow. From the comfort of this wooden seat, a symphony for tired feet.